Marvin Bagley III reached an agreement with the Detroit Pistons on a 3-year, $37 million deal. The news was reported by Chris Haynes. It's a no player, no team option, 3 years, $37.5 million. So the news pops up on your screen. What were your first thoughts on that contract?
That the Pistons want to keep him and they see him as a key piece of the future. I think if Bagley wasn't a part of the future, they would have just let him go. The fact that they committed 3 years and $37 million tells me that they think that there's something there that they can, continue to develop. You saw when he was in the starting lineup with Cade, he was an instant lob threat. Now, I have a feeling he might be in the starting lineup. I don't know why. I know some people think Isaiah Livers makes more sense in the starting lineup, but I think you might see Bagley be the starting 4 next to Sadiq to start the season.
Ooh, wow. So you do think Marvin Bagley is going to be the starter for the Pistons? My bad. I did not mean to speak for you. You should have just told me to shut up. My bad.
It's all good, man.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You'd be like, dude, pump the brakes a little bit. Don't speak for me, bro. I love Marvin Bagley. I personally don't see him starting for the Pistons. I love him as that sixth man. I mean, he averaged 15 and 7 off the bench last year in 18 games. Like, a sixth man doesn't have to be like a guard, for a team. Yeah. So, but to be able to have a big man that I believe can play with Isaiah Stewart, and you could probably put him in some lineups with Jalen Duran. I mean, again, you already know my thoughts on Jalen Duran. I think he's going to be in the G League to start the year. But I do think that Marvin Bagley, Jalen Duran, and Isaiah Stewart, that all 3 of those guys can be on the floor together. Maybe not all 3 of them at one time, but Marvin Bagley's interchangeable between both. Like, you're not going to lose too much between those 3. It's almost like a 3-headed monster that the Pistons have right there. But do you think it's an overpay, the 3 years, $37.5 million?
So I was thinking about this a lot. Like, my initial reaction was like, yeah, it's an overpay. But then I'm looking at some of the contracts these bigs are getting, like what Mo Bamba got. And, the other, I don't want to say like backup bigs, but like Bagley is, in a sense, like on a championship team, he's probably a backup. I think this deal will age very well when we're looking at the new CBA deals in a few years. I think 3 years, $37 million. Average salary around like $12 million per year. I think the Pistons did a pretty good job with this signing.
Originally, because there was an Athletic article that was written by James Edwards sometime in April where he had projected the contract to be like 3 years, and I believe for like $24 million. So I had jumped on the Marvin Bagley train at like 8 to 9, maybe 10 million a year. Originally, when I saw the contract, I thought it was a slight overpay where I'm like, he's not much of a defender. He doesn't have like the most consistent jump shot from outside. He is capable from shooting threes. He is pretty left-handed dominant when it comes to the post. I've seen him a few times where he rolled to the middle of the lane where I thought if he had just gone up with his right hand, I'm like, dude, you got an easy 2 points. But, anyways, every player comes with their pros and cons. But now I'm on the train of 33 years, $37.5 million. It's not a bad deal for Marvin Bagley. Like, he's only 22 years old. He averaged 15 and 7. He can be a spot starter. He can come off the bench. He seems to have a pretty good attitude since he was traded to Detroit. Like, I'm all for it.